Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
Becky, look at her butt.
I didn't know if we were live or not, so I didn't say it.
It's okay to say butt.
Oh, is it?
I don't think that butt will get us demonetized.
I mean, we say tiny butt like 5 times an episode.
Yeah, but the size of butt is what is objectionable, apparently.
Yeah, the size
Yeah.
of butt is
can't-
correlated exactly to how offensive it is.
Yeah, you can't like big butts.
But you can't.
If you do, you just have to lie about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why that song was so
So funny.
so controversial. He was not going to lie. He was refusing to lie.
I'm just like having a flashback of me in like 6th grade at a school dance, like dancing to that song and how inappropriate that is.
Oh, yeah. My favorite.
It'd be like followed by the thong song or something.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, have you guys seen like the videos of Cisco breaking down how he made the thong song? Oh
The
my
thong-
god, it's
The
so
thong song
funny.
still slaps. Sometimes it comes
Iconic.
on in the gym, and then I'm like, I'm about to run 100 miles an hour. Right now.
You're right. That looks so good. Skin.
Yeah, like you don't realize how good it is. If you listen to it again, you'd be like, this is awesome.
Oh, I
Think
never
I sing it
thought of
again. That think I sing it again is so good.
Yeah.
So good.
It's
Oh
the best.
man. All
He was
right.
in that stupid teen movie with Kirsten Dunst, and I loved that movie. Kirsten Dunst? Yeah. Dunst?
Dunst.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which movie though? I'm trying to think.
Oh, cripes. It's the one where she's the little sister, and her brother's like, "Don't date my sister," which was like literally my life in high school. It was so
I don't
boring.
remember.
What was it called? Because she was in a bunch of those teen movies, and I loved all of them. I was like the perfect age for that stuff. Not that one. Get Over It. Yeah.
Don't
Get
remember
Over
it.
Yeah,
With
I don't
Cisco.
ring any bells.
I vaguely remember him being in a movie.
And they play the song, and Mila Kunis is in it,
Oh.
I think my
and
Yeah.
Colin Hanks is in it, and Shane West is in it, and
I
Zoe
was-
Saldana is in it,
I was at the
and
right.
Martin Short is in it.
Wow, that's really a who's who.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot.
Who's who?
One of my
I
favorite
don't know
movies of
what.
hers from that era is Dick.
Hmm.
Does anybody know about the movie Dick?
No.
I've
We're about the Watergate
yeah.
scandal.
Oh,
it's
I
so
know the
good.
movie, but I've never seen it.
Oh,
Yeah, I haven't
it's
either.
So good. I made Nathan watch it last year, and he was like, "Thanks."
Who plays Nixon?
Huh?
Who plays Nixon?
Martin Short.
Oh, it's
Just kidding. I'm just making that up.
I can look
I
it up.
can't remember his name. Dan Hedaya. Dan Hedaya. You would know him if you saw him. He looks like the brother from Everybody Loves Raymond, but it's not him. It's that guy.
Oh yeah, I got you.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, absolutely. That's him.
That's really funny. Hey, everybody that's watching on the YouTubes, hit that up vote or whatever, the thumbs up. It really helps the
Yeah,
channel if you do that.
It took me a minute to find it. You got to X out of the live chat.
oh,
hit the
no,
button.
you shouldn't have
Only
to.
if you're on your.
Well, no, you
mobile
still
on
are
mobile?
in it. You just if you're on your phone, you X out of the
Oh,
live
okay,
chat, hit it,
gotcha.
and then bring the live chat back up.
Sorry, I'm on a desktop. I did
Yeah.
not. I was like, I didn't have to do that. But the more people that like it, the more people it shares it with, and we're trying to see if we can grow this whole live chat fun time thing.
Thumbs up.
And you guys ready? Do you want to do a show? Oh, I better open my software. Sorry, I was like, I
Good
think
place
this is.
Good place to start.
I think this is the 9 windows I need. No, I forgot the 10th. Baby, move your butt. Butt.
I'm just like, can that
This
be our background
episode,
music for
yeah.
this
I mean,
episode?
yeah.
Brought to you
We'll
by
pay the
the
rights
thong
for it.
song.
You have inspired me. I'm gonna learn the thong song to play live. Why
You can
have I
use
never?
I mean, if
thought?
you're doing like a millennial wedding and you do the thong song, like people will lose their shit. They'll go
100%.
crazy.
Dude, people will lose their shit. Like, if I can do an acoustic version of the thong song that's really, really tight, people will lose it. It would
Yeah.
be awesome.
Make it really soulful.
Oh yeah,
Just-
like one of those you don't realize until a third of the way through the song what you're singing, and then you're like,
Yeah,
I've heard
yeah,
this
yeah.
song before,
How does it
and
start?
then it hits when you get to the chorus.
Thong song lyrics.
Are you looking up the lyrics to
Right
thong
here.
song?
She had him like him. I don't know the word.
Ooh, that dress so scandalous. Yeah,
You're telling me you weren't allowed to watch TV, but you could listen to the thong song?
you could
Who
definitely.
said I wasn't allowed to
You could
watch
definitely do like a
TV?
slow.
You
Jay.
have. You have.
It was video
You've said
games,
that.
Jay. It was
You've
video
said
games.
that on this very program.
I did
Don't
not.
don't
Y'all
gaslight
are
me.
haters. We didn't have cable.
Mm.
It's not the same thing. Listen, you down there in the holler need to calm down, all right? I've had about enough of it from you.
How else
No.
could she watch Wishbone?
Just getting started. Yeah, I mean, I guess Wishbone's on PBS, whatever.
I wasn't not allowed to play video games. We just didn't like have them.
Oh, I know. I was jumping
Well,
on the
that's not true.
bandwagon
My
to.
brother
yeah.
got a Game Boy.
Oh,
Mm, that's
Haley
pretty
didn't get
cool.
shit.
how risque.
How risque. Was it the color version? Because that's a little
no,
too.
no, it was the old.
That's
like,
way
the,
too scandalous.
You know, the gray one, like the first one.
The look on the
Yeah,
Game
I'm
Boy is so
leaving.
scandalous.
Courtney, thank you for
doing this
liking the
without
video.
me.
Yeah, thank you everybody for liking the video. We're getting. A lot
If you
of
don't
likes
like the
over
video,
here.
you're dead to us.
Yeah, like the video. Like the video.
If you
That
don't
goes
like
for the host
video,
too.
You'll get roasted by Jay.
There's only 5 likes right now, and one's court.
Sometimes people
one's
like they
Courtney.
want that though.
I'm seeing 8 likes on my end.
Oh, well, maybe mine hasn't updated yet. Normally does the
I'll
little
have to do
rollover
a
thing.
refresh. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
Oh my god.
are we gonna talk
We
about
have
some
to
news?
start
Is that what
before
we're doing?
this gets any worse.
Yeah,
All right,
probably should.
starting.
You
Start
just
recording over there.
tell me when to
Stream looks
go to
good.
Audacity.
Go to Audacity. Everybody ready?
That was like
Yep.
10 minutes ago.
Yep.
All right, I'm hitting record.
Record.
All right, we're in.
I thought I was gonna burp, and I was really gonna go for it, and then it just
I just
didn't
did.
happen.
You should do it.
It'll feel better.
Get it all out.
Better out than
That
in,
was
I always
so
say.
that was so gross.
It was such a Homer Simpson like blah, like my lips flapped. And
That was a
everything.
belch. That was the definition of a belch.
Lip flap.
You know,
Did you just-
Homer.
did you just, Did you just drop a Shrek quote, by the way? Like as
Oh,
we're
of
about to
course I
talk about
did.
Shrek 5.
You know
today.
I did. Yeah.
Oh, of course I did.
What was this?
Is that even a question?
He said better out than in always. I can't do it in the Shrek
Oh.
voice. You can do
Oh.
it.
Better than in, I always say.
I feel like that he used that quote.
I showed that movie to
in
my
another
kids
movie,
like
too.
a couple of weeks ago, and it has some questionable humor in it. And I was like, I can't. Like there was a time where he went in to save the donkey. He was like, "Well, I have to save my ass" or whatever. And I was like, "All right, we got to talk about words you're not allowed to say." It's like I'd forgotten.
Ooh. Darius says Cap trailer Thursday, guys. Guess Comic-Con starting early for Marvel this year. Maybe. I don't know. I hadn't heard that yet.
Seems a little early, but maybe they did drop
Miguel,
Agatha,
to
so-
answer your question, since you weren't here earlier, if you're in the live chat and you're on a mobile device, just close the live chat momentarily, and then you should see the button to click the like.
Yeah.
I'm glad you understood that because I was like what?
Okay. Are we ready?
I like it like that.
I like it like that.
This is gonna be a wild one
I
today.
like it like that.
I got soul. I got soul.
Okay. For real.
All right. Here we
Get
go.
it together.
Agatha casts a spell on us with a first trailer. A DC show is on the chopping block. Marvel Television shares about upcoming shows. Plus, Gladiator 2 trailer lands. And we are entertained. All that and more on this week's Multiverse News. Welcome to Multiverse News, your source for information about all your favorite fictional universes. My name is Matthew Carroll, and with me on the panel today, we have our regular 4, Haley Hobbs. What's happening, Haley Hobbs?
What's up? Glad to be in this reality with the three of you doing the news.
Yeah, indeed. Thanks for joining us from that part of the multiverse. And Jay Sisson.
Hey, I'm doing great. I mean, it's like 1,000,000 degrees here every single day, but you know we're surviving.
Well,
This is summer now. This is hard.
This is summer now. Whew. Okay. J. Scotty St. Clair, what is happening? Sorry,
I'm not exactly sure how you knew I was regular, but yes, I am, and I'm happy to be here.
That's important, you know.
It is. It's very
at
important
our age.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
For sure. Yeah, you talking about the heat? Just I spent last week. I wasn't here because I went for the 4th of July to Paige's family's lake house. Spent the time with the family there. It was so hot all the time, and like I just couldn't even step out the door. I was like falling over. Like the walk from the door to the water, which is like 100 feet maybe, was just too hard. I was like, I can't make it to the water. I gotta stay in the air conditioning. It was so bad. All right, well, guys, let's first off, let's talk about our 5-star review for this week. We have Make Mine Marvel 86, a screen name I recognize from other chime-ins on Stranded Panda. Thanks for writing in. They say, from the debut episode, Multiverse News has filled a void I didn't know existed. Literally can't help but give an outward cheer when a new episode drops. Thank you for all your hard work. Thank you, Make Mine Marvel.
Oh yeah,
That is
the best.
really kind. Yeah.
Aw, shucks.
Hey, and if you want your review read on this show,
Mm-hmm.
go drop one.
Yeah, drop.
You
that
can even
review.
ask us a question,
Mhm.
appropriate ones. Don't ask
Or-
Scotty about his regular stuff, but you know, you can ask us about other stuff.
Whatever. He's volunteering
and
information.
we'll answer it.
You can ask us anything. Ask
You
us
did
anything.
open the door. I mean,
We'll cross that bridge when we get there.
5-star review will get you a lot of places.
Maybe fill a void you didn't know you had.
Oh,
That's
God.
right.
All right.
You guys started this.
That's-
Oh, yeah.
I'm just-
What I really do, but taking it seriously, I really love this feedback because the reason I thought of this show is because there was a show years ago I used to listen to that had a similar format. They did the news and chatted about geek news, and like it went away, and I haven't had that in my life in a long time, and I missed it. And luckily, the team here joined me on this adventure, and we've been doing it. So thank you all the listeners for joining us.
it's like the fine, I'll do it myself Thanos moment.
That's yeah, exactly. All right, Thanos, that's me. I embrace the comparison. Okay, up first in the news we have Marvel Studios gave fans a real trick and treat by dropping a first Agatha All Along trailer on Monday. The peek at September's MCU show highlights Kathryn Hahn's return to the character of Agatha Harkness, first introduced in WandaVision. We see Harkness awakening from Wanda Maximoff's spell and setting out to regain her power. Who here is not in their right mind and therefore perfect for joining Agatha Harkness's coven?
Well, you know it's going to be a gas. We're all here for it. I thought this trailer was so fun and unexpected. I think it really wasn't what any of us thought it might be, truly, and I love that they could surprise us with this. Tacking onto the popularity of WandaVision, this looks like it's just going to continue really strong like that show did, and we really need it too. We need some, fresh, exciting new content in the MCU, and I think we're definitely getting it with Agatha. The trailer looks like the show's just taking some turns that we weren't expecting, maybe subverting our expectations, giving us witchy Aubrey Plaza, which what more could we possibly ask for? I'm very, very excited to walk the Witch's Road with Agatha.
Mm-hmm.
It's a vibe for sure. The trailer has like a very distinct tone, and I think that is what I want from this. Is I don't want it to just be a Marvel show, right? Like trying too hard to be a Marvel Studios television property. I want it to be what it is and own itself and be like, if we're going to make a show about witches, we're going to get weird, we're going to get out there, we're going to do musical numbers, we're going to, bring in people who can bring a certain type of vibe to a character or whatever, right in time for Halloween, right in the season, and just lean into it and just do what you want to do. Like, I think people will run to that more if we see, I think, that's what we've seen across the MCU. Is the MCU's at its best when creative people are making a thing that they're wanting to make, they're leaning into it, and they're chasing that. They're not trying to make a Marvel thing. And so I think this, at least from the trailer, at least what we've seen, I think it captured attention. And I think people are interested in it, and they're kind of like, they're thinking back to WandaVision, which seems like it was so long ago, but we're thinking back to those connections of WandaVision. I mean, this is the spinoff of the show that we all sort of fell in love with a few years ago. I mean, that was WandaVision was and still is Marvel TV's biggest show. And so you've got kind of probably people who watched that show and then went cold, maybe watched a couple things here and there. And, maybe this could be something that interests some of those people to catch up on the WandaVerse a little bit and go back to Westview and try to explore that world a little bit. But what I find fascinating are the connections to Wanda herself, right? I mean, just from the trailer that we've seen. And there's a lot of discussion there on how will this show connect to Wanda, or will it connect in a meaningful way? I still don't think Elizabeth Olsen is showing up in this, but still, I think you could do work to set up the future of this side of the MCU or this corner of the MCU. So, yeah, overall, I think it's exciting, and it seems like it's a trailer that really captured my attention for sure.
I had a couple big surprises from this trailer that I didn't really expect. I don't know if he's been confirmed yet, but it looks like Wiccan Billy is in the show, which I did not expect. But it's a perfect place to bring him in. It seems like if she's trying to break the spell, she might need someone who's related to Wanda or something like that. Like, I could see that being a plot point. And also, it's the trailer has him in some sort of weird facility or something. And I don't know if that's part of the Witch's Road and part of the adventure, or that's where she goes to get him. Like, I don't know what's going on there. It's just a lot of interesting stuff that I didn't expect from this show. But the biggest thing I didn't expect is how scary some of the stuff looked. Like, WandaVision I will say WandaVision had a couple really scary moments, particularly, I guess not a big spoiler, but there's a shot of Vision in the show that is like terrifying and shocking, because up until that moment, it's been a very light Marvel tone. Well, not even. It's been like a light sitcom tone, and then you've got a terrifying visage. And it's like seeing that, and it seems like they're going to, I guess, continue that theme of having some real frights in this show with some of the shots you see in the trailer. So it seems like a really fun and fantastical adventure that seems totally I almost used the word fantastical twice in a sentence. That's not good. Totally bizarre and out there, and like fairy tale like some of the stuff. It's not even attempting for realism. It looks really bizarre and dreamlike, which I really like, but also really frightening in places. So you said the vibe, I think, Jay, and I think that's exactly, like, the vibes are neat and different and weird combinations, and I'm into it.
Likewise, I was really impressed with this trailer, and going into it, we knew that it was going to be a spin-off of WandaVision, but I found myself being genuinely surprised how much of a genuine sequel and spiritual successor to WandaVision it seems like it's going to be, even in the sense that it's kind of doing the genre mashup thing. Like, I don't know how long that shtick is going to persist through this particular series, but just seeing that they're kind of poking fun at that high budget drama mystery television. It's just great, and that's one of my favorite parts of WandaVision. But I am going to hone in on Aubrey Plaza. So we've been talking a lot about her lately, and as we've gotten the lineup of witches, she was notably absent, and this is the first time we've really got to see her. So speculation's been all over the place. I guess the character has been somewhat confirmed. I don't know how officially, but Jay, you mentioned in previous episodes that we knew she was going to play a villain witch of some type, and I kind of mentioned Mephisto is seeming like more and more of a real possibility, but I guess she's supposed to be a character named Rio. And I don't know. When I see that green magic, I immediately go to Cynthia Von Doom. So my little nerd heart is going to speculate. I don't really have, real expectations there, but it seems like a real opportunity to maybe, with the Fantastic Four on the way. We've started to see the delineation between the movies and the TV shows, but I do think there's an opportunity, especially when you've got talent like Aubrey Plaza. How cool would it be to have her tie into, a character like Victor Von Doom, who should be a really important figure going forward. But apart from that, looking at Joe Locke's character, if he's not playing Wiccan Billy Kaplan, I'll be really surprised, because again, I'm one of those people, I will always, champion. I love when you get people that look similar. And if he's not playing an older version of that young performer that played, Wanda's kid, I'd be very, very surprised. So I love everything I'm seeing from the series, and I cannot wait for September.
And we've already got those young Avengers cooking behind the scenes. I mean, we've already seen Miss Marvel show up and recruit Kate Bishop, and we've got all these random young Avengers scattered throughout the MCU. the kid version of Loki and the kid from Falcon and Winter Soldier, and you've got these pieces that you could bring together. And I would imagine there has to be, assuming that this character is who we think he is, there has to be some sort of tie into that if you're going to still plan on doing Young Avengers. That at some point they've got to bring that in so you can continue to be reminded that that's a thing that's happening, that there's a team being put together in the background of this whole thing.
Yeah, you're mentioning it tying. Kind of separating off from the movies, but I think if this is Billy, which I'm assuming it is, then I'm assuming he will continue into that team, and like that's going to tie it together. The other thing that surprised me is, the Mayor of Easttown reference at the beginning. That is apparently, I didn't know this. If you're watching this on the Stranded Panda YouTube, we did a video yesterday on the Marvel Cinematic Universe podcast, breaking the video down, and Ashley was mentioning that it's like a direct Mayor of Easttown reference. She's apparently wearing the exact same costume at the beginning, the outfit when she's in the murder mystery scene. But later on, they're all in different other environments. There's like a 70s disco environment. There's a like 80s, all the kids sitting around doing Ouija boards all wearing 80s watches. So I wondered if like she's going to be fully out of the hex, or if they will be sort of sucked into the hex with her, and if we're still going to get those TV sort of references throughout, or if that's part of the Witch's Road. I really don't know. But it seems like we're going to get, similar to WandaVision, them experiencing different environments in different episodes or whatever.
That's an interesting theory because it brings to mind the line from Aubrey Plaza, and I don't know if I'm getting this exactly right, but I think she said you're still stuck in a distorted spell. So that's really interesting. We don't know the exact fate of Wanda at this point. It looks like we're getting a lot of strong allusions to Wanda, but if she is just that powerful that her hex persists beyond her, that's pretty interesting stuff.
Well, if you remember in Infinity War, when Doctor Strange is holding, they came to get the Time Stone from him, and that sorcerer is like kind of holding him, the space sorcerer guy, and he
Ebony Maw, yeah.
He goes to kill him, and he says, "Good luck breaking a dead wizard spell," as if a dead wizard is actually harder to break. Like it, and that's why he keeps him alive, and he tortures him to try to get him to break the spell. So Marvel canon currently, it's harder to break a dead witch's spell, which I think was what the whole Witch's Road might be about.
Okay, that's a great pull.
Yeah, good call.
I want to point out one thing that leads to the continuity of WandaVision to the show is Jack Schaefer, who is the writer, and Jack has also written on Black Widow, and so I think that's a strong vote of confidence for her from Marvel that they trust her to. I think this is the only case we've seen where one show is, this is the only, no, it's not the only show with 2 seasons. I think this is the only show now with that kind of continuity, I guess. Loki's the 2
other
seasons,
one.
but
it also has the same.
I'm not saying that exactly the way I mean it, but I like that vote of confidence in her and her skills, and hopefully she becomes a even more major player going forward.
Mm-hmm. I really hope that WandaVision can pull off WandaVision season 2, which is basically what this is. Agatha will be able to pull off the sort of handoff that season 1 of Loki did to season 2, with that same creative team, and be able to be as strong. Because I think Loki season 2, and I'm shocked that I think this because I haven't really considered those two against each other. I think Loki season 2 might be better than Loki season 1. Like I really do. I
think it is. Yeah,
I feel pretty strongly.
Stronger character moments.
With a really good base.
Yeah. Loki season 1 is a great introduction. Loki season 2, like it kills the, it kills the season 2 vibe. Like it just does a great job of finishing off that story, I guess. And so I'm really hopeful that this will be a thing. It's such a weird way, and I know Marvel has made their TV shows very differently by like making them like movies instead of having the traditional like TV studio system where they do pilots and showrunners. But and it's been a very mixed bag. Some of them have been good, some of them have been bad. But if they're able to pull off with Agatha similar to what they did with Loki, I mean that's 2 of, I think, Loki is one of the best series I've ever seen, period. Like, it's good from top to bottom. It's so imaginative, so interesting, such a strong beginning, such a strong ending. And if Agatha can pull that off too, I'll be like, man, I don't know if they should leave this system behind. Maybe just make tweaks, But it does take them 4 years to make a season, so like that's not great.
Well, they have left that system behind, but
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know. I'm just saying, like, maybe they shouldn't. I really like that one. But it is a bad hit.
Secret Invasion would like to speak with you.
Yeah, exactly.
How dare you speak its name?
All right, up next, while one of Matt Reeves' Elseworld projects is moving forward at DC, one is taking a step back. Reeves announced a Gotham Police show in 2020, then it changed to focus on Arkham Asylum and has been through several directors and showrunners since. But as of now, the show is no longer moving forward. Is Matt Reeves' Batman universe alive or just criminally insane?
Well, the jury's still out. We have to wait for Penguin and the Batman too. But I think the only thing that's surprising about this update is the fact that it didn't happen sooner.
Mm-hmm.
I was just talking about how we had 3 in-film universe series all announced all around the same time, that being Dune Sisterhood, which went on to become Dune Prophecy, the Penguin, and then this series that we're talking about right now, which did start off as Gotham PD. And I actually forgot that it kind of made the transition into an Arkham Asylum series. So, considering that they were all announced around the same time, and there's only 2 of those series that we have anything substantial, and trailers are pretty much as substantial as it gets, short of the show actually premiering. So, it makes sense that not getting any kind of news about this series at all, and it kind of being stuck and a little bit of a production hell there with all the switch ups and everything like that. It's just not really that surprising. So I don't find myself being all that forlorn about it. I would love to see the series. I think Arkham Asylum is, it's boundless in terms of like the stories they can tell there and the creativity that can be put on display, and, the genres as well, if you want to tackle the mental illness in a really serious way, or if you want to get fantastical about it. But on the other side of things, I do have to wonder how motivated this is by James Gunn's DCU, because I think it's all fine and well if we have Elseworlds films, like you can have the Batman off doing his thing and the Joker over here, and sure, we've got the Penguin, but how many multiple concurrent Elseworlds TV series do we really want muddying the DCU? I think that could be a factor here.
Yeah.
Do you think
absolutely.
that applies to the animated side as well? Because it's Matt Reeves that's doing the Batman Caped Crusader animated series that's coming out in August. So
that's fair.
It's interesting that they cherry picked just this show, and maybe it just means that it really didn't have any legs. And it might be a good thing. It might be them subscribing to the less is more kind of mentality. And if that's the case, I think that's positive, because we don't want to put out crappy content at this point.
Yeah. Well, not only that, James, but the animated show is also the first show they're producing. Was it Creature Commandos? Right?
Correct.
That's the first DC show that's technically in the DCU. So, like, the animation, the line between animation with Matt Reeves having a Batman cartoon and James Gunn producing this cartoon, it's really blurring a little bit between what those are. So I don't know what it'll apply to.
It is important to note that Caped Crusaders series actually wound up on Amazon, so that could be very intentional, having it over there instead of on Max.
Well, and James Gunn even announced not that long ago that Matt Reeves would be producing a show centered around Batman in the DCU. And we talked about it. It was like a lightning round thing, but we talked about it and we were like, this is confusing because we brought this up because we were like, listen, Reeves is supposed to be doing his Batman thing. And we even mentioned like there's supposed to be an Arkham Asylum show in that universe that he's working on. And they've been so clear that it is so separate from all of the other DCU stuff. And there'll be a new Batman and all this type of stuff. And then all of a sudden now you've got, okay, well, he's actually going to produce an Arkham show for us. And then it's like, well, is the other one in? It blurred it and it got weird, and we just didn't really know what to do with it. So that's one reason why this isn't surprising. And then another reason is just, well, I mean, the Batman 2 doesn't even come out until 2026, right? I mean, we got the Penguin here soon, right around the corner, but then we've got to wait, over a year until we see the Batman 2. So if the Batman 2 does really well and it's well received and people are really getting into that universe, yeah, I'm sure you could see the floodgates open and you could see this Matt Reeves universe continue to expand. But right now, like, we've got one movie, in that universe, and that's it. And so we just have to wait. And I think it's going to be good. Like, I think the Penguin's going to be good. I think the Batman 2, like, it's probably going to be good. But, like, we just have to wait. And then I think after that movie, I think you could see this get revitalized, maybe with a new director and new talent and all that type of stuff. But, yeah, it totally makes sense that they would shelf this for now.
Sorry. My bad. I had a dog barking. I was trying to text someone to stop. Like, it was just like, yep.
Text the dog.
Yeah, text the dog.
I texted Mabel. She's like, all right. I can't control my emotions. Just have them later. But okay.
Oh,
it's like you text human words, but then the dog hears it and it's like bark, 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 and it knows what you mean. So it's latest technology.
Yeah, it's neural link stuff. Elon Musk did it. Sorry. What was I going to say? I had a point, but oh well. And I can't leave the story without also mentioning the most popular piece of media that is Arkham Asylum. I think, is the games, which I am absolutely in love with. And so I do feel like no matter what you do with an Arkham Asylum thing, it's so hard to adapt a game. And then if you're making the content about Arkham Asylum, but you're not including Batman in it, it's going to feel I don't know that can somebody please get the dogs? This is ridiculous.
Mabel left you on red.
Yeah, now
he's like, Arkham Asylum. I want like, that show.
Everyone's here. Normally, it's like they start barking when somebody comes home or something. But right now, everyone's here. They're just like freaking out for no reason, and like no one's stopping them. It's like the 1 hour I have something to do.
Mabel just wants to say that the multiple Batmans are confusing.
Yeah, Mabel is not happy about this Batman thing.
All right. Well, we got this little break. We got 13 people watching, but only 10 likes.
Ooh, hit that like button, guys.
Like the video, people.
Like the video. If you're watching on your phone, you have to close the chat to like it, but like it. Thank you, Scotty. Good call. It helps more people see it. Okay, sorry. Where was I?
Arkham Asylum.
Something. Arkham Asylum. Something.
It's hard to compete with.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. Okay. It's hard to compete with a video game in general because it's it's just a different medium. It's experiential. But then if you do that and you're not going to include Batman, it'll just be a completely different thing. And I still don't know that they've cracked the villain movie. Like anybody got a good, like, it's like Venom, they just turned him into a weird hero. Joker, they just made it Taxi Driver with the clown in it. Like the Suicide Squad, they're just a plucky group of outcasts more than they are villains. Like there's a few villains mixed in the first one especially, but it doesn't. I don't feel like they have. I don't know that we've cracked the villain piece yet. Does anybody have any other thoughts? Any that I'm missing that I'm not thinking of?
Not as a standalone, really.
Yeah, nothing's coming to mind. Not that was successful in my estimation, anyway.
I mean, the Joker was successful.
Oh, the Joker.
Oh, I like the Joker. Yeah.
Yeah, and I read it off just because it's such a change. It's not inside the DC universe, really. It's just the Joker. Like I said, Taxi Driver.
Right, he's not on a collision course with Batman.
Right,
it's
just
not that kind of story.
Yeah, it's about it's a movie about a man unraveling instead of like a movie about a man becoming a homicidal clown that fights Batman. Like, it's just a different thing. So I don't know. I don't know what a Arkham show would be exactly without a Batman, and in the light of it being against the one of the best video games of all time, it feels like it's a doomed errand. Okay, back to Marvel. Where things happen. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. DC, things happen too. It was Marvel's head of streaming television and animation, Brad Winderbaum's turn in the hot seat on the last week's episode of the Marvel Official Podcast. Winderbaum gave each of the upcoming television shows Marvel is working on some quick sound bites. He said, "What if Season 3 feels like the culmination of a trilogy?" Winderbaum alluded that your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man will have a teenage ensemble. He also said the Eyes of Wakanda ties into the MCU more than any other animated show. He said that Agatha All Along... He said of Agatha All Along that it's really scary and it gets quite dramatic, but qualified the statement with, it's a Marvel brand of scary. Sorry, Ashley. Of Daredevil, Born Again, he discussed how the dynamic between Matt Murdock and Kingpin won't just be about murdering each other, but the politics they find themselves in. Winterbaum is most excited for people to see that they're doing what they're doing with Marvel Zombies. Do these nuggets of information excite the most avid viewers of the MCU around this little panel here?
I think they should. I think that, like I said last week, this is a huge PR platform for Marvel that they're trying to restore trust in their brand with, and I think that's smart. That's what they should be doing. I believe that Brad Winderbaum is kind of like number 2 right now at Marvel. He's out there a lot, doing a lot of press, a lot of interviews, and he's really trying to restore the faith in the television side of things in the MCU and in Marvel Studios in general. And so I thought this was all really positive. It shows that all of these projects are definitely moving forward and that we're absolutely going to get all of them, which I think we knew. I think Eyes of Wakanda was like the most recent one that we were all like, where did this come from? But hearing that it ties directly into the MCU is very exciting. So I enjoyed listening to him kind of bite off these little sound bits because I want Marvel Studios to succeed in their streaming platforms so much, and they've had such a rough go of it that it's like, you have to do something. And this is him putting out fires and saying this is what you can expect from these shows if you didn't already know that they were happening. And so, you know, good on them for figuring out we have to do something about this problem of people thinking our shows are terrible, not well planned, etc., etc.
Mm-hmm.
I want to give some on-air kudos to Haley for distilling all these little nuggets for us because, yeah, I did not go through the trouble of listening to the Marvel official podcast. So it does encourage me, though. Maybe I will check it out now, knowing that they're having, guests like these that are, divulging information like this. But I do look at the one that he says he's the most excited for people to see, and that's Marvel Zombies. And I find that particularly encouraging because while I am excited for Marvel Zombies, it's always been one of those ones that I could kind of take or leave. I think zombies in general are kind of overplayed unless you're doing something really novel or have a unique approach or something new to say, kind of like The Last of Us or something like that. So the fact that he's so excited gets me excited. And then, of Daredevil Born Again here, I did kind of find myself chuckling a little bit because he said, Matt Murdock and Kingpin aren't going to be murdering each other. I don't think that was ever Matt Murdock's, goal. He's always been a good Catholic boy. I don't think murder's on the table for him.
Well, I would just like throw out there, it said he's not about them trying to, or like what was the actual quote? Something about like...
He said it's not about them just trying to murder each other.
Right, which the thing is, the thing about the show is it's Kingpin trying to murder Matt, and Matt trying his best not to murder Kingpin, which I thought like right. That's literally the whole arc, especially the 3rd season. It's like him trying to decide, does he go Punisher on Kingpin? And I thought the quote, like maybe he meant that, like it's about them either murdering or trying not to murder, but like he didn't say it well.
Yeah. And then finally, just to address the Marvel brand of scary, I'm kind of right there with Ashley. To me, the Marvel brand of scary feels like scary with training wheels on. Mm-hmm. But I was kind of delighted with a couple of, we just talked about the trailer a couple stories back, but I was delighted with some of the kind of body horror and like truly scary things that we got to see there. So I am optimistic that this is going to lean more into that, maybe more into like Multiverse of Madness. I think that towed that line kind of perfectly, where we did have some frightening moments, but it was never, over the top. I don't think anybody, around 13 years old or older is going to have any nightmares from anything there.
Hey, Scott Derrickson gave it a try. He came to Marvel, was like, here's what I'm going to do with Multiverse of Madness. And they were like, get out of our office. We're going to bring in Sam Raimi instead. But yeah, what stands out to me here is just the health of Marvel animation, which seems to be something that has kind of been up in the air a little bit. You know, we have the what ifs, but what if doesn't really get a whole lot of pop. It's not one of their most viewed things for MCU or for Disney Plus in general. So to see these like big properties, like, hey, we're going to have one that connects to the MCU. We're going to have this one that you thought was probably gone, but it's actually not. We're actually working on it. We're excited about it. And then this Spider-Man animated series, which still is kind of driving us all crazy because they won't tell us if it's in the MCU or not. Like they did at the beginning, they said it was, and then all of a sudden they said, actually, no, it's set in another timeline. It's kind of set in another universe. And, I just wish that they'd be a little bit more clear about that. But still, like, it seems like Marvel Animation is very healthy and they're working on projects and they have a lot to show. And I think that's very exciting just to kind of look at because, when you hear about sometimes places scaling back and like we're scaling it back, we're rolling it back, you kind of expect those animation projects are the first ones to hit the cutting room floor in favor of live action. So I think it's cool to see so much of a vote of confidence, at least publicly, from Marvel Studios behind their animation department.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure.
Yeah, lots of interesting news. Lots of interesting news. I'm most pumped for the Matt Murdock Kingpin discussion because I do think it'll be interesting to see, especially after the events of Echo and where Kingpin's mind's at, and like we talked about what he's doing, and like he's always been, there's just these shades of gray, but between Matt Murdock, Punisher, and then one step further along that line is Kingpin, who like actually, at least in the other series, like he wanted to save the city. He wanted to save his city. He just didn't mind hurting innocents to do it. And so just that like sort of shades of gray and when do you become a villain? And I love that stuff. So if he's really changing and he's a politician now and maybe Echo's had a big effect on him, like I'm excited to see what will happen between those two, and how Matt will struggle with like, what if this guy's trying to change, and at what point will that break down and them go start fighting again? Because that's inevitable, I think. All right. Up next, revenge is a dish best served hot and sweaty. In the first trailer for Gladiator 2, boasting a star-studded cast that includes Denzel Washington, Pedro Pascal, Connie Nelson, Paul Mescal, and Joseph Quinn. The film appears to truly be a sequel to the Russell Crowe movie and pave its own path for a new story. Are we not entertained?
Yeah, whenever we talked about Gladiator 2 and it was in its early production days back a year ago or so, I think one of the things that we talked about was how when the trailer came out for this, that it was going to have to do a lot of work, because when you tell somebody, hey, they're making a Gladiator 2, most of the time the response back is going to be, well, why would they do that? We have Gladiator. I know it was made 25 years ago, but like we have Gladiator and it was a great movie, and I don't really think there needs to be a sequel. Plus, you can't really continue those main character stories that were established in Gladiator. So you're looking at that, and you're looking at that idea, and you're saying, well, what possible sequel could you even tell? And so the trailer needed to convince people, particularly like your target audience, which is probably like mid 30s to 40s age, type people that watched that first movie and loved it. And I think personally, I'll be interested to hear what you guys think too, but I think personally this trailer did that. It looks huge. It looks like it's epic in scale, even bigger than the first Gladiator in terms of scale. It looks well shot. It looks like the budget is there. It does not look cheap. And the talent just really stands out. Like Joseph Quinn is acting in a way I've never seen him act before. Pedro Pascal is kind of Pedro Pascal, but still, like, seeing him in this role is interesting. Like, he plays it well. Denzel jumps right off the screen in this trailer. And then Paul Mescal, like, yeah, I mean, he gives the Maximus vibe while feeling like a distinct character. And like you said, Matt, like in the read, like, yeah, this feels like a true successor to this movie. And so I was already interested in it. I was already going to go see it. But the trailer really convinced me that this is a story that can be told, that this is a story that we're centering it around new characters. We're not leaning on the old stuff. We're telling an entirely new story. It's a different time in Roman history. Things have happened, and now we're 20 years from that, and that's affecting the society that's happening. And we want to get a look at that and kind of see how the society is grappling with the fact that a gladiator killed an emperor. You know, like what does that do to society? Well, it crumbles it, right? It crumbles the power structure, and it seems like that's kind of what's being dealt with here. So yeah, I'm all in. I think it looks great, and yeah, it comes out in November, and I'm really looking forward to it.
I'm all in as well. I love Denzel in this already. Like I love Denzel in everything I've ever seen him, and I love him. And like I think he's gonna bring a ton to this movie. I could not help but think of Creed when I was watching this. Like this movie is to Gladiator what Creed is to Rocky. Like you've got the previous generation guy who fought in a gladiatorial arena, and when they set they set all these like training scenes when he's like, I'm gonna train you to be gladiators and then to be warriors or whatever, like to turn into warriors and take down the Roman Empire. Like it just reminded me so much of like and there's literally like there was hip hop music set to them training to be gladiators, and I was like, this feels like a Creed movie to me. Like and even like the idea of a boxing match being this sort of gladiatorial combat and it having symbolism beyond the match, you know, like it's Rocky IV, and then he later teaches the next generation. I don't know. It couldn't help but see those parallels in this trailer. But what I find really interesting is that like, it seems that Denzel Washington's character learned the lesson from Maximus's death and like Maximus's life and the sort of like way that he was able to take down an emperor, that's how like you need these heroes, you need to turn the people, you need like that to be able to take down these people. It's like he wants to recreate another Maximus, and I think that's such an interesting way of doing a Gladiator too. It's like it's taken him a generation. He learned the lesson, and now he's got this plan in place, it seems, to create another Gladiator to be that sort of spokesman for the people. And he has to find the right one and train them. And I think that's such a cool idea, and a really good way to make a sequel to Gladiator that I wasn't expecting.
Jay, I think you summed it up pretty perfectly. I've been excited for this movie. All the news around it has been pretty positive, and I'm usually willing to give Ridley Scott the benefit of the doubt, but I was a little on the fence, and this trailer was what, put me over the edge. You got my butt in a seat come November, because it does look truly epic. And Matt, you talk about getting Creed vibes. I got more like Spartacus vibes. Like I was thinking about like the stakes have clearly been risen. Like I'm getting the sense that this battle is spilling out beyond the arena, and it's really going to affect some change, and the beginnings of the fall of Rome, it seems like to me. But yeah. Thinking about the cast here, it seems like from the trailer we've got kind of two camps. We've got Denzel and we've got Paul Mescal on one side, and then we've got Pedro and Joseph Quinn on the other side. And I was kind of surprised, we've been talking about Pedro a lot, and I think he's done a really good job of, recently especially like picking some really like likable roles, and I was kind of surprised to see that he seems like he's going to be kind of like not even like the big antagonist, but kind of like the brute force to the big antagonist. Like he's kind of like Joseph Quinn's unwilling pet. Like maybe he originally bought on because it gave him certain power and he enjoyed abusing that power, but now he's bitten off more than he can chew. So I think that'll be really interesting to see that different kind of gear from him, kind of like somebody that was corrupt but maybe is having second thoughts about that, but is in too deep. So again, from beginning to end, I thought this looked truly epic. The cast looks great, and I'm super excited for it.
Like you, I zeroed in on Pedro because I'm always going to zero in on Pedro. And they can dress him in white and
How
gold,
could you not?
like a Roman, whatever general, anytime they want. But I did find it interesting that he looks like he's going to be on the antagonist side, and like you said, I think he's going to bring a lot of pathos to that role, because that's what Pedro does, and he's really good at it. And so I think it looks fantastic. The production value is up in the sky. It's a Ridley Scott film, so it usually is. They always look fantastic. I've seen a lot of different opinions online. I don't have a personal connection to Gladiator. Like my dad watched it so much, I think that it whited out in my brain. So I have like scenes that replay in my head, but I don't have like you'd think watching it as much as we did, I should know it real well, but for some reason it just doesn't live rent free in my head. So I hope that people give it a chance. I think this will do very well, and I think November is a fantastic time to release it.
Yeah.
It's going to do the Top Gun Maverick thing. Like people are
Exactly.
going to, they're going to go back to a thing that they loved, and now they're seeing a new thing that's associated with it. It's got the young draw because you got the new talent. It's got the old draw because people love Gladiator. It's going to kind of marry those worlds, and it'll do great numbers.
Before we move on entirely, how funny is it that we've got, Pedro Pascal, Paul Mescal, and Joseph Quinn all in a movie, and there was at one point in time on this show we were talking about all of them seriously being in Fantastic Four, and 2 of them are going on to be in Fantastic Four.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's cool. I hope that it lends to like some good rapport between Pedro and Joseph because they've worked together now.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
obviously their characters work maybe closely together. So yeah, that's cool.
That's really cool. Well, Haley, I believe you want to tell the people about our Patreon.
We have a cool Patreon giveaway going on this month, the month of July. If you join the Patreon, which is patreon.com/multiverse-newscast, or if you're an existing patron, you will be entered to win a commission piece by my friend Tommy Lombardozzi. I'll show you an example. It'll be something like my Wolverine. It's a single character of your choice. They can't be like, fighting Dr. Doom or anything like that, but a commission piece for you. So that's a really cool prize, and I think a great incentive to give us $4 a month at patreon.com/multiverse-newscast.
It's a beautiful Wolverine. Please go over there, guys. It would be wonderful. And we will be back with more multiverse news. Lots of great stuff in the lightning round this week, so stick around. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Multiverse News. So let's see. We had a Spotify poll last week. I wasn't here.
We do.
I was not here, and I don't understand this poll.
Go for it, you guys.
Take it away, Jay.
Well, that's all I have to say. Last week, I was accused of being a hater of Harry Potter, which I am not. I was just pointing out the fact that the rules of Quidditch are bad. Just fundamentally and mathematically, the rules of Quidditch are bad. And so the Spotify poll this week was, trying to put me in the basement a little bit, like, oh yeah, let's gang up on Jay and talk crap about him, do the killing curse or whatever. But instead, after all of the votes, we have the rules of Quidditch, 2 options. 1, put Jay in charge. 2, keep Jay away. And wouldn't you know it, 62% of the people said put me in charge, and only 37% of the people said keep Jay away. So maybe, just maybe, I was onto something. And catching the ball, which is worth 150 points and ends the game, the equivalent of 15 goals, is maybe not a good game design.
100%.
Mic drop.
I'm 100% on your side, Jay. I would have been right there to defend you because that is totally true. I've
We
thought
really
about that.
needed an I don't care option.
J.K. Rowling, I'm sure when she was sitting down and designing the rules of Quidditch, she was kind of like, oh, this sounds like a great idea because there's strategy or whatever. But I think she I don't think she maybe she just doesn't follow sports. She doesn't think about the design of rules very well, or something. Because then in later books, she's like, well, actually, sometimes you have to wait to catch the snitch because she's trying to save it a little bit.
Right.
It's like sometimes you have to wait to catch the snitch because you might end the game and your team might be behind. It's like by 15 goals, though. I don't know.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, the games can last 7 days or whatever. Like maybe we're digging too deep of a hole here. And so I suggested for the HBO show, we have a chance to fix Quidditch.
Ooh.
We have a chance if we want now to do it, but they won't. But I'm just saying that they could. I think what happened is they're like, we need Harry Potter to be more important than the other characters.
100%.
So give him the most important role. So catch the ball and the game or whatever.
That is exactly what it is. And instead of actually, I think it's sort of like this like anti-sports thing because it's like instead of understanding Quidditch and having like a thing where the other characters matter at all, it's just a chase the golden ball game. Like that's the entire game. Nothing the other characters do matter. It's
the main argument I heard back this week from people was that they were like, well, it's a wizarding world. It's a fantastical world. It's like supposed to kind of be out there. I was like, I'm not arguing that. I know it's the wizarding world of Harry Potter. I'm arguing that it's just bad game design. It's bad rules. Like that's the math doesn't math.
100%.
Jay went to school for game theory.
Yeah, we're gonna need a breakdown of Sabak from the Star Wars world next week.
Careful what you wish for.
All right, well, let's move into the lightning round. This is where we cover as many stories as we can in a shorter period of time. So I'm going to read a story. One of us here on the panel will yell out our name to claim that story, and then we will give our takes. And then once per lightning round, we get a rebuttal. So here we go. On July 4th, Anthony Mackie took to social media to share a new photo from his forthcoming film, Captain America Brave New World. The photo revealed a look at Captain America's suit Mackie will be wearing in the film.
Jay, suit looks awesome. If you've seen some screen caps from this movie, you probably already seen it before, but this was like our clearest image that we've gotten. It looks so much more Captain America than Falcon, which was kind of like at the end of Falcon and Winter Soldier. It was kind of like, it was Captain America, but it was like a Falcon vibe. This is like Captain America vibe. Like it looks like straight off of Chris Evans onto Anthony Mackie, and I think that's awesome, and it looks great.
Yeah. Despicable Me 4 ruled the 4th of July box office with an estimated 5-day domestic opening of $122.6 million, including a 3-day weekend haul of $75 million, after earning a stellar A cinema score. Globally, the film... My Alexa is talking.
It's 9 o'clock or whatever.
It's 8:30. Yeah, I gotta move that.
Time to get ready for bed,
I gotta
Skylar.
turn that off for Tuesdays or whatever. Sorry, guys. Okay, I think it's done. I'm just gonna start that one over. Sorry, guys. Despicable Me 4 ruled the 4th of July box office with an estimated 5-day domestic opening of $122.6 million, including a 3-day weekend haul of $75 million after earning a stellar A cinema score. Globally, the film grossed $230 million. Inside Out 2 held at number 2 and has now crossed $1.2 billion globally. A Quiet Place Day 1 held at number 3 in its second weekend with a 3-day gross of $21 million for an impressive 10-day domestic tally of $94.4 million. A24's horror slasher Maxine opened Friday and placed number 4 with an estimated $6.7 million.
Scotty, while on the surface this seems like a successful weekend for the box office and a win for the summer box office, personally for me it was a little bit of a disappointing weekend at the box office because I did not see Despicable Me 4, and that's not to yuck anybody's yum, but those movies are just not for me. There's a reason that I'm willing to go see Inside Out 2, but not Despicable Me 4.
It's the Minions, isn't it?
No, not even the Minions particularly. I think it's just it's Illumination, to be honest with you. I think Illumination is really hit or miss. I think Mario was a rare win for them, but the majority of their films I've found to be kind of lacking where, and again, I'm not yucking anybody's yum here, but Pixar, one of the reasons they're so successful is they're entertaining while also delivering a message. I feel like, Despicable Me and most of Illumination's films, unfortunately, it's just kind of like the lowest common denominator. Like, we'll make your kids laugh with fart jokes. And again, I'm not above a fart joke, but when that's all it is, I lose my interest pretty quickly here. But I did see Maxine, and that's where it's unfortunate to say I thought I loved X and I loved Pearl. I thought Maxine was okay at best. It was pretty disappointing. I thought it was kind of sloppily made. And I hope, director Ty West, I hear that he has plans to do a 4th film if this film is received well enough. And I think I could be in the minority here, but I hope he tightens up and rights the ship for my particular, interest.
I'll use my rebuttal here. The thing that worries me about this box office haul and kind of like in general what we've been seeing at box office and what works in the box office. We've been talking about it since we started this show. And without a few exceptions, most of the things that are really working at the box office are at least in part for children. Like kids movies are killing it this last year. And even something like Barbie that is like, a mega hit, like while it was a lot deeper and adults liked it, it's a movie kids can go to and kids would want to go to. So it's really, now that the superhero wane is happening, and like we're not getting, the superheroes aren't getting their big thing, and that used to be things kids could go to, but we were all excited for. I'm just worried that budgets aren't going to be being doled out like they used to for movies that I really want to see, because I don't really care to see these kids' movies that much. I mean, every once in a while I enjoy one. I enjoyed Inside Out a few weeks ago. I still haven't seen Inside Out 2, but yeah, I don't know. That's my little take. I'm just noticing that little trend, with the exception of course, Oppenheimer being the big exception there, and Dune 2 being another exception. That did not seem for kids.
But it's seemingly A Quiet Place Day One being a little bit of an exception so far as well. And it's like, you talk about the success of family films between If and A Quiet Place. Now, John Krasinski, he's kind of been a linchpin for this summer box office, even though he was a producer on A Quiet Place Day One, but still, it's kind of his baby,
Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah. It's just a big difference between that 94 million and 1.2 billion.
Oh, absolutely.
Is what I'm like. It's
astronomical.
Like the Marvel movies used to be like, Marvel and DC used to be $1 billion movies every time, and now they're not happening. And like, I'm not excited for these other movies that are hitting that $1 billion. So hopefully we'll find some. Hopefully the other kinds of movies will find success that of a similar type. I would like to see it. Okay, the teaser for Formula One race. Marker. Okay, up next, the teaser for a new Formula One racing movie titled F1, starring Brad Pitt, Damson Idris, and Bridgerton star Simone Ashley has dropped. The Apple original film is directed by Top Gun Maverick director Joseph Kosinski and produced by Jerry Bruckheimer.
Scotty, this trailer was badass. I feel like this movie, from what I've seen so far, it's what
Gran Turismo
wanted to be. It's what Ferrari. Thank you. You know exactly what I was trying to say. It's what Gran Turismo wanted to be. It's what Ferrari wanted to be. But this one has just it's got it. And I mean, of course, you throw Queen's "We Will Rock You" behind anything, and it just makes it that much more epic and badass. So I was really impressed with this one.
Awesome. A sequel to 2006's A Devil Wears Prada is in development, with screenwriter Aline Brosh McKenna in negotiations to return.
Haley, the sequels continue forever and ever and ever. I didn't confirm, but I believe maybe Meryl Streep and Emily Blunt are going to come back for their roles. Anne Hathaway is not confirmed for that kind of thing yet, but I mean, I would see this. That's like an iconic movie from the early aughts. I would be happy to go see a sequel to this.
Awesome. After months of back and forth, Sherry Redstone has finally agreed to sell control of Paramount Global to a consortium led by Skydance Media for a deal valued at $8 billion.
Jay, the back and forth has been months at this point between these two parties, between Skydance and Paramount, and now it's official. It's going through, and I think just how is this going to affect the properties of Paramount is probably the big talking point here. We just won't really know for a while. This deal will not be official until early next year, so we still have some time that it has to process and all of that. But when it does happen, when it does become official, there'll probably be some restructuring here. Paramount Plus might get restructured in some way. You also have to consider things like CBS comes along with that deal. So we're talking about primetime sports and all of that. So there's a lot there. Paramount owns Transformers and Star Trek and Top Gun and Mission Impossible. And, there's a huge list of properties. Nickelodeon is in that streaming service as well. Like, this is a very large list of IPs that are coming along with Paramount. And then CBS is huge in terms of sports. I mean, they have primetime NFL games on CBS every week. So there's a lot to sort out there. And so next year, you'll see a lot of that sorting out happen. Right now, it's so fresh, so we can't really say how it will, affect Paramount. We're going to have to wait and see whenever these new heirs lay out their vision. But definitely newsworthy for sure.
Tiny butt. I know that like I have no idea about valuations, but like Lucasfilm sold for $4 billion, and it just feels like just CBS by itself being like this like legacy company with so many properties. I guess I don't know how many of those properties they own the rights to or whatever. I don't have a breakdown, but I know Star Trek, but also just they have a huge catalog of things that CBS has been making for years, and all these procedurals and stuff. It's crazy to me that this only sold for $8 billion, and I don't know if that's like a correction of, Lucasfilm selling at the right time, and now we've got all these. This is Paramount maybe like not doing very well or what, but like it's 10 years later or whatever, and this being worth $8 billion seems low to me. With that comparison.
That was pre like big time streaming too.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to keep that in mind. Like Paramount Plus has entered the streaming sphere, but has not been the level of success that probably they anticipated at the beginning. They really don't have that big hit. Like unless you're a Star Trek fan in particular, you're probably not like they don't have a Stranger Things. They don't have a Succession. They don't have a Game of Thrones. They don't have the big draw show. And so,
absolutely.
I'd say that this is a company that maybe isn't necessarily just printing money and generating money like hand over fist, like Lucasfilm was probably projected to do at the time that it was sold.
Yeah, it's true. It's true, man. Apple TV released a trailer for Taika Waititi's reimagined version of Time Bandits. The original film came out in 1981. Matt, this looks fun. It looks fun. I have never seen the original Time Bandit, so I can't really comment on how the comparison. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there talking about that, and I apologize for not being as well schooled. But this looks fun. I thought Lisa Kudrow looked like a really good fit for this sort of Time Bandit character. So looks fun. That's all I really got to say. I like a time travel story, and there was some really funny stuff in there, and I think it's probably a good fit for Taika Waititi's vibe, and it feels very Taika Waititi-esque, and it seems like the sort of like one-off adventure seems like maybe the way to go for his kind of stuff. Cool. Joel McHale says the Community movie should begin filming in 2025.
Jay, I love Community. I loved it when it was on, and I think the cast is definitely its strongest asset. A lot of the cast has grown into a lot of different roles ever since then. This was Donald Glover. He was on this show, and he really just became his childish Gambino persona and his all of that after Community. And same with like Allison Brie and Danny Pudi and Joel McHale. Like all of these people have just like continued to just do really good, solid stuff ever since. But on top of that is Dan Harmon, who has gone on to do Rick and Morty and do these like bigger things since Community. So I find it encouraging that they really are taking their time. I mean, this Community movie has been in development for a long time. It's been through a lot of delays and reshufflings and trying to get the cast back together. So I think it's encouraging though that they really are taking their time to try to get it right, get the whole cast back together. Not Chevy Chase, because apparently nobody wanted to work with him on this. But overall, I think that speaks to something that is going to be very special whenever it actually happens.
100%. The final season of Umbrella Academy begins on August 8th. A trailer was released today. Matt, trailer looked epic. Absolutely epic. And I really liked the My Chemical Romance song. I think it's called The End, set to this. I'm a big My Chemical Romance fan. But yeah, I really, really thought the trailer looked like fun, but also stakes raising. It was really an interesting vibe because they had the stakes being raised to sort of a multiversal proportion, it seems, but the characters themselves being very unaffected. Like, oh, the world's ending again. Okay. Like this happens they're doing exactly what they should be doing, which is like looking at the camera and going like, again this season. All right. Again, that's I think that's a good vibe for this show. It's they're great characters. I really have liked all the seasons I've watched. I didn't finish last season for not because it was bad. I really actually was really enjoying it, but it's life got in the way. But I will catch up before this drops because I like Umbrella Academy.
Scotty with a tiny butt. I have only watched Umbrella Academy in passing, but it's worth mentioning. You mentioned, the My Chemical Romance song. It's always worth mentioning that Gerard Way, the frontman for My Chemical Romance, was directly involved with the creation of Umbrella Academy.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, that's great. I didn't even make that connection, which is insane. Sorry about that. Thank you.
Oh, no worries.
Director Sam Raimi is set to direct and produce a new horror thriller called Send Help. Damian Shannon and Mark Swift will write the script.
Scotty, not a lot to go from here, but just with that title, Send Help, I kind of hope that this is a lot like he did a film in the early aughts called Drag Me to Hell. I don't know, when I hear Send Help, it just makes me think that he's going to do a very similar thing there, which is, it's very evocative of Evil Dead. It's kind of, horror that's so campy you can't help but get a laugh out of it. So I think that's what we're in store for, and I'm always down for that.
Awesome. New Girl star Lamorne Morris has been cast in Spider-Man Noir, or Spider Noir. Is it Spider-Man Noir or Spider Noir?
I think they changed the
it
name.
to Spider Noir.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
Sorry
it
about
was
that.
just Noir.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Oh, yeah, definitely needed that.
They were like, we got to get Spider-Man in this, or people won't.
Yeah,
watch
I'm
it.
glad they did, because I was like, nobody's gonna watch this.
Yeah,
Is this a spinoff of The
1000%.
Boys?
Good call. New Girl star Lamorne Morris has been cast in Spider Noir, the Nicolas Cage-led series that will premiere on Amazon Prime. Morris will play journalist Robbie Robertson. Brendan Gleeson has also reportedly joined the cast as the show's villain. Matt,
Really?
okay, go for it.
Oh, go ahead. I was just saying, these are some heavy hitters in the show so far. Like
Mhm.
Lamorne Morris, I feel like for a while his career after New Girl was just quiet, but then he's really come back. He's a great actor. He was in Fargo. Brendan Gleeson is an amazing actor. Like and
Yeah.
Nick Cage is Nick Cage. What are you gonna do? Like this is. I wonder who else they're gonna get to get this even more A-list star-studded. This is a good start.
Yeah, Nicolas Cage was huge, but he felt like kind of stunt casty and like he'll do anything. So it gave me no faith. Nicolas Cage brought no extra faith in the property for me. Like zero extra cachet. It was just neat that he was doing it. But like these two give me tons of faith. I love Lamorne Morris.
I disagree. I was like, if they do it without Nick Cage, it'll be sad because he was so good as Spider-Man Noir and
I completely agree.
Animated movies.
I completely agree. It just him being in a property in general does not mean it's going to be good. I guess is like kind of what I'm saying. Like he's in great things and terrible things, and so but Lamorne Morris I love, and Brendan Gleeson I love. So I'm all on board and more excited for this than ever. The Conjuring franchise has set their fourth and final movie to release on September 5th, 2025 in IMAX.
Scotty, this makes sense if you saw the most recent Conjuring movie, which I believe was called I Saw the Devil. It makes sense that they would want to retire these characters. They've we've been with them as they've matriculated throughout their careers, and especially Patrick Wilson's character, he's getting up there. So I think the Conjuring movies have been kind of hit or miss. That last one was a little bit of a return to form for me, so I'll be reasonably excited for this one.
DreamWorks Animation announced Shrek 5 will come out in theaters in July of 2026, and that the film will feature the original voice actor trio of Eddie Murphy, Cameron Diaz, and Mike Myers.
Jay, it's just an announcement of remakes from the early aughts. We're getting Gladiator 2, we're getting Devil Wears Prada 2, we're getting Shrek 5. Let's just start stacking them up. That's just what happens when you get older. They take all your stuff out of the vault, they just start making it again, or they start adding to it or whatever. Like, let's get the gang back together and do Shrek 5. Why not?
Yeah.
Rebuttal. Shrek is life.
Shrek is life. Oh, man. I was watching something. Oh, gosh, what was it? It was Sandlot. And one of the characters in Sandlot said, baseball is life. And I was like, that's funny, given the Ted Lasso for football is life. Yeah, really liked that. Founder of the website Bleeding Cool, Rich Johnston confirmed that DC Comics is launching an Absolute Universe line in October 2024. Lead talent includes Jason Aaron, Kelly Thompson, Jeff Lemire, Shay Grayson, Al Ewing, and many other well-known creators. Matt.
Haley.
Okay, go for it, Haley.
Go ahead, Matt. What do you have to say?
I have almost nothing to say about this except... So I knew that Haley would want it, but I wanted to take.
You got a rebuttal in the pocket. It's
yeah,
fine.
You haven't used your
Yeah, I've
rebuttal
been
yet.
pretty quiet.
You can do any size butt you want. This just kind of gives me vibes of the Ultimate Universe of Marvel, which the Ultimate Universe was then used as creative materials and also course correction material for to line up with what they were doing in the movies and television shows. Mm-hmm. So I feel like this universe might be something similar for what the DCU is doing, so they can start sort of bringing into alignment a universe that fits with the television and movie side. But that's all my supposition.
That is definitely something that Rich Johnson said in the article, so you're not far off. He didn't talk about it being tie-ins with the movies or that kind of thing, but he did compare it to Marvel's Ultimates line, which is reimagining the characters. So this is cool because the names that we listed off are just some of the names, but those are extremely well-known writers in comic world, and I'm excited. I've known that Jason Aaron was doing something Superman for a while, but there was no real announcement about it yet. The article had some artwork from the Absolute Batman cover, and it looks really cool. It's like this weird, almost a post-apocalyptic looking kind of Batman with these spikes on his shoulder guards, and he's got like wings strapped to his forearms. Like, it sounds really neat. Kelly Thompson is one of my favorite writers, and she often does female characters, and she's going to be probably doing the Wonder Woman one. So I just think this is great. Not the first relaunch for DC, of course. Comics do this all the time, but something to look forward to.
Yeah, I love it. All right, well, that is all the news for tonight. Let's go around and tell the people where they can find us online for our other various projects. Haley Hobbs, what you got?
Source Pages dropped our second Deadpool and Wolverine primer. We read X-Men Red, issues 1 through 5. It was awesome. I read the whole run. I strongly encourage you to read it if you are a comics reader and you haven't. And then Jay and Ashley and I dropped our Twister episode, and we'll be doing Twisters at the end of July. Ashley and Jeff and I are doing The Acolyte, and I think that's it.
Sweet. And Jay Sisson.
Yeah, well, weekly you can find me at Commute the Podcast on Monday mornings, where we'll cover a few interesting things in about 20 minutes on your way to work. And go check out Twister. If you haven't rewatched Twister, I mean, it's kind of a fun, sneaky fun rewatch. Like, you don't realize that it's a fun rewatch until you rewatch it. So that is on Bingers Assemble. And go check that out before Twisters drops here in the next coming weeks.
Love it. And J. Scotty St. Clair.
These days I have been regularly appearing on the newly branded Always Watching, the coverage of The Boys season 4 over there. So check it out.
Yeah, Always Watching is where it's at right now. So much is going on. We've been talking about it for months that it was coming, and now we're right in the middle of it with House of the Dragon, The Boys, and The Acolyte all running concurrently. And we're going to do an episode about The Bear soon as well, season 3. So lots of stuff going on. The show is now called Always Watching, which I don't think we said here, but we've been saying, we just started announcing it over on what was formerly called PandaVision is now called Always Watching. So go subscribe, listen to those shows, and we're really going to try to keep that feed up with whatever cool, geeky, or exciting TV shows are on at the time. So it'll be a good place that even when, all of our big universes we talk about here at Stranded Panda there's not much to cover, there'll be great stuff going on Always Watching. So head over there and hit that subscribe button. And we'll be back with lots more next week on Multiverse News. Peace.
You stay classy, Multiverse.
Sweet. Hey guys, thanks for hanging out over on the YouTubes. Appreciate y'all. Presto the Magnificent said something.
Hey, we had a pretty nice YouTube week this week.
Yeah, we did.
It was clicking that like. That helped.
It's helped every time we've remembered to do it. So we should try to remember to do that when we're not busy. So thanks everybody for hitting that like button. For real.
Woohoo.
Ultimate and Absolute definitely sound similar.
Yeah.
I need an Ultimate vodka. All right. Well, we love you guys at YouTube. Thank y'all for hanging out. We'll get the full episode up tomorrow, and we'll be back next week with lots more multiverse news. Hey, and if you are watching this on YouTube and you want to check out, we did the Agatha frame by frame watch right here on YouTube, and that should be up in the feed as well. So check it out. We'll be back soon.